We're back on a remote inside Tennessee. John Becker along with Don Bosch and Susan Richardson-Williams. Susan, I promised that I'd give you a chance to talk about Don's criticisms of Governor Lee. Anything else you would add to our discussion about how he's responded to the COVID-19 crisis?
Well, I would just say this. Governor Lee is one of the most passionate people that I know. He's a man of faith, a very strong faith. And I know that he is struggling. I know he must be struggling with this whole issue right now. And it's the first major crisis that he has encountered since he's been in office. I'm not sure anybody anywhere truly knows the right thing to do right now. And I feel for them as being the leaders in this case. But you know what? Leaders rise to the occasion when we're in crisis. And I think Bill Lee will before this is over.
Susan, let's stay with you. How would you rate the performance and reaction of President Donald Trump, 1 to 10, and then tell me why? 10 being really as good as you could, 1 being awful.
I think I'd give him a 5. I think he initially was maybe a 1 when he first came out, and he tried to politicize it and talked about this being a hoax, a Democrat hoax, that sort of thing. Clearly, it's not a hoax. And I think he has appointed Dr. Fauci, thank goodness, who actually understands what's happening in this country in the medical world. And I'm glad he has that. I do think Trump has improved dramatically in the last week or so. He's finally now talking about the crisis and actually, I think, talking to us like a leader should. He certainly got off on a slow track to begin with, but I think he's improved. He's got the right people around him now, and I do feel better about it, but I'd still give him only a 5 right now.
Don, your rating of the president during this crisis?
To paraphrase one of my favorite Clint Eastwood lines ever, on a scale of 1 to 10, he's a 2 because I've never seen a 1. And it is abysmal. I'll agree slightly with Susan that he's done a little better, but it just takes a moment for it to slip back. And for example, just this last week, he's saying, I want to be open at Easter. And every single medical person with any knowledge about viruses and diseases and pandemics has said that is not realistic, and you will kill a lot of people if you open at that point. And then he's talking about opening regions of the country. Well, we know, as we said early, and everybody else has said, this virus has no borders. It will transmit and it will go beyond. And when we will delay this, we will end up with more deaths, more hospitalizations, more treatment. This is tough, folks. Make no mistake. I mean, this is going to hurt the economy, but we've been through terrible economic times before as a nation, and we will survive it. I'm pleased with the package that's come through just this week, the 8th package. There'll be more. It's not enough, but I am not impressed. And I know Susan, she'll probably explode there on her screen, but it makes you yearn for the days of Barack Obama, because that, there was leadership then, and they're other than Anthony Fauci. And I have to say, at least Vice President Pence sounds the part. He's reassuring to the public and he's listening to some folks. But the wrecking ball of Donald Trump, it is really, really difficult to suffer through.
I think that, talking about Easter, being with the economy opening back up, I think that's probably not realistic either. But I do think he did do that to calm some of the troubled waters out there about the economy. And you did see the stock market rise after he talked about that, and also how that it's risen after we got in the bill, the $2.2 trillion.
So we should lie, Susan. We should lie in order to raise the stock market.
I don't know if he's lying. I think he actually thinks it might be over by then. But the medical folks that I've talked to don't think it will be, the economy will be able to open back up by Easter. I mean, it's only a couple of weeks, and we have not, as we talked about that curve, we've not hit the top of that curve yet. So I don't think there's any way, but I do think he was trying to encourage people and encourage small businesses particularly that there is an end to this virus coming.
We have about a minute and a half left. Let's quickly move to what it's like to campaign in this environment. We have a major Senate race that's underway to replace Senator Lamar Alexander, but these candidates on both sides cannot shake hands, and they can't be in a group of more than 10. Susan?
As you know, I'm helping one of the candidates, Dr. Manny, and where it's really hurt is the ability right now to have meet and greets and to have fundraisers. We had 17 fundraisers planned for March and only got through a few of those. And so I think, however, I can say that I suspect the Haggerty campaign and all the others that are running for the Senate right now, there's a bunch that have picked up papers. But the fundraising is going to be the real difficult thing right now. And when it comes back, hard to know, but we're doing teletown halls. We're doing a lot of calls, phone calls, and doing Facebook Live, and that's about all we can do right now.
Don?
Yeah, imagine if this had happened 15 years ago without the advent of social media and bandwidth, which apparently, John, you lack a little this morning. Imagine if we didn't have the connectivity through the social mediums that we do. This would be really an interesting election. It would feel like, it would really feel like 1820, not 2020. And but candidates are trying to get out. I know Renee Hoyas on the Congress side, she's trying to do everything she can digitally and calls. I know on the Senate side, James Mackler is really working hard, again, like Susan said, internet, phone calls, his troops, but it's a different time. I have to say, probably a lot of people find some pleasure in not having to hear about it all the time.
Only about 30 seconds left, but someone who has been deeply entrenched in the politics of this region is leaving his job. He says it's time. He just wants to spend literally more time with his family. Cliff has been a fixture as the Knox County Administrator of Elections. What can you say about Cliff Rodgers, Susan, before we leave today?
You know, Cliff Rodgers has been great. I mean, there are always a few little wrinkles that happen at election time, but he is somebody that's really been passionate about his job. He's worked at it hard. I think overall he's done a great job, and I think we're going to miss him.
Yeah, we've had two really good directors of the elections, first in Greg Mackey and then McKay and then Cliff Rodgers, and he's going to be big shoes to replace. It sounds like, though, that if it's voted, his number two, Andrew, is probably on board to take over, and Susan may know that better than I.
Well, to both of you, much love. Wish we could shake hands in person. I'm toasting you with my Sunday morning coffee, and hopefully our viewers will understand, and we'll tune in once again next week. Thanks to everyone for watching, and we hope to see you then.